What's up, Schmoedown fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Schmoedown. I'm Star Wars competitor Andrew Dimalanta.
And I'm Nicki Dimalanta.
Another second episode of the week for you guys, being spoiled rotten if you're a Schmoedown fan and Beyond the Schmoedown fan. But we have a big throwdown to go over last week. It was
So much stuff.
It was featuring all four of the horsemen.
Yeah.
Big matches. Big night for the exchange. But
so check it. If you haven't watched this throwdown,
Yes.
here's your warning.
Yes.
This is the Shazam Who's the Boss and then the title match between Corruption and Founding Fathers. So if you haven't watched this throwdown, come back later. Come visit us later. Don't watch this unless you want us to tell you what happened.
Yeah, and we had a huge conversation. We kind of went on a tangent yesterday, yesterday's episode
about protecting yourself from spoilers.
Yeah.
So here's your opportunity.
Here's your opportunity.
If you haven't seen it, take your own.
Don't blame us. We warned you. I warned you.
You know, take your own destiny in your own hands and come back later because I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. So there it is. So right out the gate, rough night for the exchange.
It was a rough night.
Rough night for the exchange.
But that's okay because only place to go from here is up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But let's talk about them because
Let's talk about the match. So let's get into the first match. Yes.
So first we had it's a number one contender match.
Yes.
Between Shazam and Who's the Boss. Shazam is, of course, Brennan the Kid Meyer and William the Beast Bibiani, and they represent the Quirky Murkies.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Who's the Boss, which is, of course, Ben the Boss Bateman and Mark Yodi Riley of the Finstock Exchange.
And another match where, minus Brennan and Meyer, former champions.
All around. Yeah.
You had Mark Riley, so all former singles champions. I think Mark is the only one, and this is a former two-time champion. So a lot of heavy hitters in this one, and Brendan's on a hot streak right now.
Heck yeah.
So
round one. Interesting thing about round one is that Who's the Boss used all their JTEs in round one. Yeah. Uncharacteristic, but I mean, gotta do what you feel you gotta do in that moment.
I know, I almost want to see or say that they didn't want to get behind, because with high profile competitors like this, a point can really matter.
Absolutely.
And this being it's only a 3-round match, correct? Yeah. So especially in if it's a 5-rounder, you can make it up elsewhere, but
how come it wasn't a 5-rounder? Because it's a contender.
Because it's not a tournament match.
Oh, word.
Tournament finals are 5-rounders.
Got it.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, surely can't be the only person that wondered that. Genuinely, that wasn't a setup.
There's your answer. Just
makes sense though. Got it.
Knock it out of the park.
Knock it out them. There you go. So Who's the Boss used all their GTs in round one, but like you said, this kind of a match you don't want to give up. You can't afford to give up anything. So if you want to be sure, you just can't use them the rest of the game. So it happened. So by the end of round one, nobody got a perfect round. Yeah. At least I didn't write down.
Yeah, Mark missed quite a few.
He missed a couple. Yeah, I didn't keep track.
I think it was
of
3.
Who missed what.
I think he missed 3 questions.
It was 10-13 in favor of Shazam at the end of round one.
Oh, and then we have to talk about the back and forth between these two teams, because Ben Bateman,
the talk.
Yeah, just the trash talk between them. There's a history with Ben and Bibiani, and Brendan was getting in on it too.
He was a little
because
bit.
Bateman was trying to defend himself. I'm just trying to make sure that but it's Bateman being Bateman.
There was one question where I want to say Ben was the only one to get it right. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and I think he's perfect at this point.
At that point, he was perfect. He was the only one to get this one particular question right. And then after they said it, he goes, "Well, wait a minute, didn't William get it right?" Just to really drive it home and salt in the wound that he didn't get it right. So he, I'm just checking, just making sure. Yeah. So he's just trying to poke and prod at the beast. No pun intended. Yeah. Because he is the beast. Yeah. And then unfortunately he missed the next 2 questions after that.
Yeah. And Brendan is oh man, after that comment. Yeah,
funny how
that works. And when you go up against Bateman, that's the kind of game you're going to play, because everybody plays differently. Ben just likes to play mind games.
And that's the risk you take. When you are a mind game player, it might come back to bite you in your butt. Yeah, so it's the risk you take, and sometimes you just got to eat it, and he did. And, he does when he has to. Yeah. So,
because I'm actually because there's I'll get to it after we finish up this.
But yeah, there was lots of
so.
back and forth, jabs here and there.
Yeah.
And yeah. Mm-hmm. So going into round 2, it was 10-13, Shazam, end of round 1. Round 2. Who's the boss goes first. They get opponent's choice. They are given classics. Ooh. Not a great round.
And Bibbs is good in this category.
Yeah, he's
very good in this category.
So they went to multiple choice a total of 3 times. They missed 2, got 1. Both of the multiple choices they missed were stolen. Mm-hmm. And there was a challenge on one of these multiple choice questions.
Yes, and also they missed a question.
They did miss
outright.
A 2-point. Yeah. They also missed a 2-pointer. Mm-hmm. But one of these multiple choices that was missed and stolen was challenged. Didn't write down the question, but the answer, when it came down to it, was Elvis Presley. Mm-hmm. So they read the question, and William knew it outright, and he just kind of said Elvis, but they were like, oh, it's multiple choice. Calm down. So then they read the multiple choices, and I guess it was first and last names for each of the multiple choices, and William and Brendan say Elvis, and they get it right. I don't know who was the originator of the challenge.
I think Bateman jumps in and goes, we're going to challenge this.
We're going to challenge the fact that they didn't say Elvis Presley, and they didn't specify the Elvis they were talking about. Now, let me make it very clear. I love Ben Bateman. Yeah. I do. I've said before that he's my favorite player in the league, and I still stand by that. Mm-hmm. Love watching him play. There are people that are emerging as like, ooh, wow, there's a lot of good people to watch. Yeah. But Ben is one of, if not my favorite player. Yeah. And also character. Yeah. But that being said, I thought that this was kind of a foolish challenge.
It's grasping at straws, and this is our faction. We support everything that they do. We got their back 100%. Not only with this challenge, but several other challenges that have come up in other matches. I'm getting exhausted of these. I said it yesterday, ticky-tack calls, ticky-tack challenges.
I've never heard of that.
I mean, it's at some point, I just want to tell everybody, just play the game. If you're as good as you say you are, and you can make the points up elsewhere, just play the game. I'm getting exhausted of this. Well, he did this, and technically, this is like, if you ever throw the word technically in there, let it go. Yeah. Just let it go. If the cards don't fall your way that day, they just don't fall your way that day.
Yeah, because like, especially when there's multiple choice answers given, exactly. Only one of the answers was named Elvis anything. Mm-hmm. So obviously he was going for Elvis Presley. Yeah. If it was an open-ended question and they didn't have multiple choice and he said Elvis, maybe you'd have a little bit more to hold on to. But it's multiple choice. I mean, they could have just said D. Yeah. And is that, well, they didn't actually say what D was. Yeah. So it's, but I support it because I'm always a proponent of, if you see an opening, you try to get in there, you try to.
But this was kind of like a no-brainer. Like, why even bother with this challenge? Because they got it right, and there's multiple choice, and everything that we just said, it's like, it's obvious.
It's not like there was an Elvis something and then an Elvis Presley. Yeah. If it was like that, then that would be totally different. But there was literally one multiple choice that it contained the name Elvis.
So it's so weird how challenges have changed, just evolved over this season.
It really kind of gets under my skin with how it's evolved.
Yeah, and we'll get to this as much as Bibbs says. It's like, just play the game. Yeah. Don't worry about mind games. Don't do this. Don't do that. And again, players play differently. Bateman definitely plays. He plays the game when it's not being played. Right. And this is just an element of his game, and it just didn't work this time. Yeah. So.
I don't know if he legitimately thought that he had a case, or if it was more mind games. Yeah. Yeah. So, makes you wonder.
And to that point, if it was mind games, it got under Brendan's skin a little bit. He's like, come on, man. Are you serious? You're serious? And he actually started getting heated. So maybe that's what he was going for.
Maybe.
So I wouldn't.
Which is a risky game to play, but Ben's good at that kind of stuff, and a lot of times it pays off for him. It just didn't seem to here.
Yeah, and at this point, it's like they had a really rough second round. You have no idea how they could run the table Shazam in their wheel round. So it's like, all right, well, let's try to throw them off their game as much as we can. I'm almost thinking that's what he was doing, just to get under their skin a bit.
Because the challenge itself was kind of like, oh no, it's like, dude, really?
Seriously.
But yeah, it happened. So the challenge was
overruled.
Of course, overruled, and they were awarded the stolen point. So then it goes to Shazam. They spin, they get comedies on their first spin. They decide to stay with it.
Yeah.
They go to multiple choice 3 times, and they got all 3. One of them, I was pissed. Because I don't know if it was the first question in the round or which question it was, but it was the first one they went to multiple choice on at least. And it was a question about the bird cage, which I love the bird cage.
Yeah.
It's been years since I've watched that movie. And now that I'm talking about it, I need to go watch it. I need to see if it's streaming somewhere because I'm
intimidated by my Guatemalanness.
My natural heat. But
I love that movie.
I know I used to have the DVD somewhere. I don't know if I threw it away in one of my spring cleaning purges, but I gotta see.
Who has DVDs anymore?
Me. Well, not anymore. I threw a lot of them away because it's 2020. But I was just mad because this was one of those questions that I was like, oh, the question made me second guess myself.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh, and the bird cage. What's the name of Armand's drag club?
Drag club, yeah.
And I was like,
isn't it the bird cage?
Bird cage. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. If they're asking it, maybe I'm wrong. And it made me second guess myself. I'm like, the movie's literally called The Bird Cage. What else is that referring to?
And it's one of these things where like, the writers has said before that like, yeah, we don't try to trick the competitors.
This one felt like
a trick question because like it's happened several times where like competitors like it almost seems like too obvious an answer, so multiple choice, and then they hear it's like, oh God, come on,
because the answer was literally part of the question in this case, and I was like, surely I'm wrong, and it has to be something else. And then when they go to the multiple choices and they say each one, and I'm like, no. Are you kidding me? It's just the bird cage. I knew that, but it made me second guess myself. It's crazy.
Hey, yeah.
And I can only imagine if I'm sitting at home on a beanbag chair, second guessing myself. I can only imagine what it's like being on the hot seat
for competitors. Yeah.
So
maybe that's So
stuff happens. So by the end of
trick questions, you don't write trick questions. Whatever.
Winky face. So yeah, they go to multiple choice 3 times, got all 3, and with that. 15-26, Shazam knocks out Who's the Boss? A KO. We don't even see round 3. God. So that's a big 3 points to the Quirky Mercs, who seem to they're picking up steam.
Like
they're gaining momentum.
Yeah, and this is such a rough loss because I thought this was gonna go at least to the 5-point, at least to a 3-point question.
Me too.
This just it's just an unfortunate event of. Riley had a tough first round, and then they get hit with opponent's choice, and they be given a category that clearly not in their wheelhouse.
Apparently, a blind spot.
One of those days where one of those days where it just didn't go our way. It didn't go Who's the Boss's way today, and it sucks.
Yeah,
it just totally sucks. And who would have thought? I did not see this coming. Nobody saw them getting knocked out.
I didn't think anybody was going to get KO'd or TKO'd.
Yeah.
But, here we are, such is life.
And it's such a bad way to start to throw down. We're like, all right, it's the exchange hour. Here we go. We're going to rack up some points. Oh, no.
Oh, no. KO.
Not only did we lose, we lost in in such an upsetting fashion.
Yeah. But as far as the Mercs are concerned, a great pick for opponent's choice.
Yeah, I mean,
because I'm gonna go ahead and assume that Classics was one of the slices they put on the wheel because I think Viviani is very good.
And they did,
Classics.
And from what I remember, Bateman didn't do well in Spectacular against Oyama.
That's right. Also in Classics.
So because like Oyama said he was good in Classics, but he didn't. He did awful.
It was just one of those days.
Yeah, Ben did equally. Not as well in that. So they did their homework and they're like, yep, all right, we're putting it on the wheel. And if we get the opportunity, we're slapping them with Classics.
Yeah.
So Shazam is on a roll right now.
Definitely.
And the Quirky Mercs are picking up steam. And like we've said it before, like, oh man, it's like now we're in 3rd place?
Yeah.
In the standings. And people are like, oh, how Monday I fall. It's like, look, we had the hot hand at the beginning for most of the season. And then it seemed that Swag is having the hot hand. Corruption's having the hot hand. Who's to say that the Quirky Mercs run the table for the tournament?
Exactly. So it's a long season, my friends, my dudes.
We still have like a lot of singles matches in the tournament. Then we have the teams tournament. So It's just a matter of can we pick up some points elsewhere? Does corruption continue their run? Does swag continue the run, or do they eat it in the first round, or do they not come to perform in these rounds? There's so many variables running around that anybody at any given time can have a hot hand and just catapult to the top.
Yeah.
So, and it looks like Quirky Mercs can pull this out and start going on a run, and now they're a threat. So
definitely, they always have been a threat.
Yeah,
but it's very apparent now.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about this. I just want to get through these matches right now, but Bibiani said as much in his post match that he's like he really wanted this win just because he wants to represent the players that are like it shouldn't be about mind games. It shouldn't be about all this and all that and the challenges and challenging. You shouldn't be challenging the game. You should be challenging the questions and like the answers if their answers are represented wrong or the answers are technically wrong and you know you're right.
Yeah,
that's not, and I to a point I agree.
Yeah,
it's like play the game. And if you don't know the answer, you don't know the answer. Oh, well. So.
And then, and then, of course, Ben has his say, and he's kind of like, well, the game has evolved, and here we are. I agree with both of them.
Yes.
I'm just kind of in between the two of them because I'm with Bibiani in the sense that challenges have gotten a little bit out of hand.
Yeah.
The way I'm pretty sure it all started in the Star Wars tournament.
Sorry.
And I will fight, and I will argue that it wasn't you.
I would argue that it started with Sam Levine.
I will argue that it started with Sam Levine and the 1,000 Years with Maz Kanata.
Yeah.
That's what I will argue till the day I die.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, things have snowballed. I feel the challenges have gotten a little crazy. People are going a little nuts with them because they say, well, I don't want to say stupid challenge, but each little, I'm gonna challenge that, I'm gonna challenge that. With each one that passes, it empowers people more to be like, well, they upheld that one.
Yeah.
Well, they deliberated on that one. Yeah, sure. He took too long in writing that question. He took too long with this. He didn't write this word.
He didn't have his hands up.
Exactly. So it just is kind of empowering people to make more and more silly challenges.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I agree with Bibiani because I think that they have spun a little out of control.
Yeah, and they need to get a handle on this really quick. Otherwise,
well, yeah. But also, I do agree with Ben that it is part of the game now.
Yeah.
And that's part of the fun for fans. I would argue not so much the players because it's probably stressful and annoying. Yeah. But it's a show. You're putting on a show for people. You're entertaining people. And
that's the drama.
Strategy is going to be a part of almost any game you play. Any sport you play, there's going to be strategy.
Yeah.
And with a sport like this, it's not necessarily a physical sport. It's a mental sport. Mind games are going to be part of that strategy. So I agree with both of them to an extent. I don't think that it's so strategic that we should be challenging stupid little things.
Yeah.
But I also don't agree that it should be pure knowledge.
Yeah. I can agree with that. That like sometimes, and Bateman is really good at doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
Because we said it before when we first started the show. Bateman plays the game when it's not being played.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I totally get both sides of the argument. I'm just on the side of play the game.
I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
Because I like the strategy. I think it's fascinating, the mind games and the psychology behind it. But I also...
it's a mental sport.
It's a mental sport, but also at the same time, why are you challenging that?
Yeah. Yeah.
But here we are. So hopefully, I don't know. This season has been very transformative in many ways.
Yes.
And we're all learning lots of stuff. So I can only hope that even though some of these, maybe annoying, obnoxious things might be happening here and there, guess what we're going to do? We're going to learn from it for next season.
And hopefully next season they look at all this stuff like, all right, we really need to get cracking on this rule book.
Yeah.
Because I would argue I would highly encourage them to don't go into next season without that rule book.
Yeah.
And because we need it. We absolutely need it.
I'm hoping it's already in progress.
I hope so.
Because with each stupid little thing that happens, it's like, did I even think to put that in the rule book?
Yeah.
So, it might be good that, in a way, it might be good that there isn't one yet. Yeah. Because with all the weird stuff, all the weird adaptive stuff we're having to do this season, stuff's popping up that might not have normally popped up, and now you're gonna have a very all-encompassing rule book.
And I would argue now that it's like if stuff like does happen and we have the rule book, now at least we have the rule book to fall on.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, according to the rules, your challenge isn't upheld because of this.
Yeah.
Because of subsection this, paragraph whatever.
Yeah.
Sentence whatever.
Yeah.
So it's getting exhausting.
It's getting a little exhausting, but at the same time, silver lining, we're learning a lot.
We're learning a lot, yeah.
And it can only be used to improve the game.
Absolutely.
So if we're gonna try to find a bright side, that's what I think it is.
It helps improve the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's all I want. I want a fair game.
Mm-hmm.
And I want it to grow.
We're in uncharted territory this season.
Yeah, there's so many times where we had to, we can't do that, so we got to pivot left now. Mm-hmm. And then when you pivot left, and it's like, every time you make a turn, it's like, we run into another problem.
Yeah. Oh, that's a new problem.
Yeah, it's an interesting problem that we have to deal with now. So let's go ahead and move on to the main event.
So the main event is Founding Fathers versus Corruption. Founding Fathers, of course. Dangerous Dan Murrell and John the Outlaw Roca of the Finstock Exchange. And we've got Team Corruption, which is Chance the Cobra Ellison and Mike KO.
We've said this before. It's KO.
Kalinowski. I don't know. I just always
assume that
flip-flop with Killer and KO.
It's KO.
But yeah,
no, it's the Killer.
See?
Whoop.
I'm going to go ahead and stick with KO right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it is because we had this conversation with Alex.
I think it's KO.
Yeah.
Kalinowski. And they are representing Corruption.
Team Corruption representing Corruption.
Team Corruption representing Corruption.
How original.
So round one, Mike missed a question about a movie called The Hate You Give, Escape from Alcatraz. Mike and John both missed a question about a movie called You Don't Mess with the Zohan, but it was because they wrote like don't mess with the Zohan or don't mess with Zohan or something.
Wording of
it was like a word or two away. And I know Chance got it, and I think Riley got it too.
No, Chance and Merle. You said Riley.
Oh my God, Riley. Still back in the other match.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Merle and Chance got it. And John and Mike missed it. And then there was another question that Dan, John, and Mike all missed. And Chance was the only one to get it right. It was a movie called Home. Chance gets a perfect round. And he got the bonus. So by the end of round one, 13-13 tie. Round two, Corruption goes first. They spin away from Angela Bassett.
Because it's a newer category.
The 80s.
Yeah.
They go to multiple choice twice. They get them both. Excellent round.
Yes.
Founding Fathers. They spin away from video games.
Oof,
they get Angela Bassett. They went to multiple choice only once. I think I took accurate notes here.
And they got it.
I kind of wanted to go back and be like, ooh, did I miss a multiple choice that they went to? I don't know.
No, I think they went once. And
they got it.
Yeah, no steals in this round. Both teams running it.
Killing it.
Yeah, and Founding Fathers did better in the sense that they went to multiple choice only once.
Right. But they both
this is so far this is just like a nail biting, like, oh my God, there's like nerves all around.
Yeah. So by the end of round two, 23-24, Founding Fathers. Going into round three, the betting round, Nora Ephron is the category that gets spun. Founding Fathers, they bet silver or black. I can't remember which one.
They went with silver.
But they bet 3.
3 points.
And Corruption bet 2. Both teams got it right. So by the end of round 3, 25-27, still Founding Fathers.
Yeah, and we said this on last week's episode that the codes, love the code.
Love it.
I love it. And like when we always talk about the game evolving, this is an element where we're forced to shift, but players just come up another way to add another layer. And it's like,
it's great.
Wow, it's awesome.
It is great. And there was some, a little bit of a bumps happening here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This is with the hands up.
Because when they were Founding Fathers, they made their wager, then they put it into the private chat. Then they brought Corruption in to make their wager. And then it was like, don't look at private chat because we don't want you to see what Founding Fathers. I mean,
how are you gonna get
I don't know, but there seemed to be some bumps because it was kind of like, oh, take them out, drop them. Now they have to drop and they have to get out, and it just kind of seemed like,
Yeah, and that's one of my little like gripes with the digital matches. It feels like these matches take forever. forever. Not only just this match, but like regular matches take like twice as long now because you're interviewing every single person as they come in. I like hearing the smack talk. I like the interviews, but it's like I'm kind of getting to the point where I was like, God, I just want to get back to studio matches. Get the promos in with the people in front of the green screen, the fun entrances, and then sit down and let's get going. And the post match interviews with Jen Sturger and whoever else is on the mic. I miss that.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. But I'm never gonna turn down.
Yeah, no, I'm never gonna turn down these digital matches. But like, it just feels like this match took like 2 hours to get through.
It did feel very long. Yeah. I'm okay with it, but it did feel very long. But the good thing about it, like, if you really just want to get down to it, you can fast forward.
Yeah, that's true too.
And then if you got time later on, then I'm just gonna sit back and watch the whole thing unfold.
Yeah. Well,
but
not for live matches though.
It does seem to take not for live matches, but it does seem to take a bit longer. But it is what it is, and again, we're learning.
Yeah.
So the end. It was 25 to 27 founding fathers. Round 4, the speed round.
Oof.
So this was held
a lightning round, as I refer to it,
differently because in like other tournaments and whatever.
5 rounders. Yeah.
It's been. Each, with only one person playing, it's been each person gets the same 10 questions. Here, because you got 4 people competing, it was kind of like, okay, each team has a player A and a player B.
Yeah.
There's 5 questions in question set A, 5 questions in question set B. And you get to pick which of your players is going to take the A set and which is going to take the B set. So you're only answering 5 questions each.
In 30 seconds.
In 30 seconds, correct. Excellent point to make. So, round 4, corruption only passed on 1 question. And I believe that it was Chance.
Chance that passed,
who passed on 1 question. They got everything else correct. For Founding Fathers, Dan and John both missed 1 each. And they both passed on 1 each. So the tables turned, and after round 4, 31 to 34 corruption.
God, Mike is
killing so it good in the speed round.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, can I be hailed as the king of the speed round?" It's like we haven't seen Ben Bateman go in this new format.
True, that'll be fun.
And Ben kills it in the traditional speed round.
Yeah,
him, Sam Levine are probably 2 of the best I've seen.
Yeah,
I can't remember how Mike is on. In the traditional, but in this new format, Mike is killing it. So,
and I was saying to Andrew before, like, isn't kind of part of the pressure, isn't the whole draw of the speed round pressure?
Yeah.
It's a matter of like, oh, do I want to go for that? Do I not want to? Do I want to risk missing a point? And I was saying to Andrew, and I wasn't going to say it here, but I'm like, well, whatever. Yeah, I kind of thought about it like, oh, well, when it's only one person going, isn't part of the pressure that it's like, oh my God, I got to get through 10 questions.
Yeah.
It's a gauntlet of questions. I got to answer them as fast as I can. I don't want to miss any. I really don't want to pass on any. It's a lot of pressure. And you got to keep up that momentum for 10 questions. And I was kind of like, I know that maybe it's part of in the interest of saving time that you're not asking 10 questions to 4 different people. Because I understand that would make it a bit longer.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, doesn't that kind of take away from the pressure?
Yeah.
That they only have to answer half of them in half the time. It's only 30 seconds of pressure and only 5 questions. But Andrew was kind of like countered me. And he was like, no. But
it's a teams match.
It's a teams match. There's a different added element of pressure because
relying on your teammate.
Now it's only like, you only got to get through 5 questions. And let's say you crush it. And it's like, okay, cool. That wasn't so bad. 30 seconds, 5 questions, whatever. But now I got to worry about this one over here and hope that he performs too.
Yeah.
Or she.
And it's the other half of the questions.
So, So it's a different kind of pressure. Yeah, it's not one person running a long distance. It's 2 people sprinting kind of.
Yeah.
And you just kind of hope that once I pass you the baton, you don't drop it. All right? So.
Ran track and field in high school. Definitely had that happen before.
I dabbled in track and field.
I did I was a distance runner, so I did the relay. It's the 4x800.
Ew.
No, 4x400.
Ew.
Yeah, the 4x4. I did that. I was I was on the B squad because I wasn't great at the 400. Or whatever the 4x8. It was the 4x8. Sorry, it was the 4x8. Because we were the B team because I was a longer distance runner and not a mid distance runner, and if you drop the exchange at all, you're disqualified. That happened to me Happened to my squad twice. I dropped it once.
Oh no!
And another player dropped it
How
once. Another runner
embarrassing
dropped it
for
once.
you.
So it's and that's the whole draw between this is relying on your teammate, trusting your teammate that they'll perform.
So it is still pressure. It's just a different kind of pressure.
Yeah.
It's just distributed differently. So that was our discussion on that. So by the end of
going beyond the Schmoedown.
So 31-34 in favor of corruption, going in around 5. And my goodness, back and forth we go. 2-pointer for Founding Fathers. John Roca takes it. Rom-coms. That Christmas movie with Emilia Clarke. Was it called Last Christmas? I meant to fact check myself.
Yes.
Was it Last Christmas?
Yeah. I was interested in seeing that one, but I heard it was a bomb. Huge stinker.
And who was the male co-star in that Christmas movie with her?
He was in
Henry
something.
Golding?
Yes. Was he in Crazy Rich Asians? I'm pretty sure he was in Crazy Rich Asians.
Didn't see it.
I enjoyed Crazy Rich Asians, but I didn't see Last Christmas. I heard it was a stink fest.
Anyways, John got it. Then it stays with Founding Fathers for their 3-pointer. Dan takes it, of course. He gets Tarantino. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I guess there was a character who almost had a lead role in what film? And Dan got it. Goes over to corruption. 2-pointer for Mike. Movie quotes. What movie did the quote, "They call me Mr. Tibbs," come from?
Tibbs.
He got it. 3-pointer for corruption for Chance. Dramas. What 1956 movie was the final film for James Dean? He got it right. 5-pointer for Founding Fathers. We're just going to go back and forth here.
Yeah.
Scorsese. A computer data entry worker and a sculptor who makes paperweights can be found in what Scorsese film?
Yeah. And I've said before that I don't really I'm not a fan of hearing the discussion between competitors.
Yeah.
This is kind of an exception because I love.
This was interesting.
This was very interesting. And it's like I think it's like Roca. Like I'm pretty sure it's this, and Dan's like he actually you can see Dan coaching Roca
through it,
and I'm like he's like no. If you're thinking it's this Scorsese film, then it's this title.
Yeah.
Go with that. That's our final answer.
Yeah.
And they pulled it out. They pulled this 5-pointer out. I loved seeing that exchange because
it was really interesting.
It was very interesting to see. Even though I don't like it sometimes, but this was an exception to where I was like, yeah, I love seeing
like, oh no, neither of them know it. But this was really interesting because Dan did not know it, and I think he said as much.
Yeah.
But he did help Roca
deduce,
navigate through it to the answer. So that was very interesting. So they got it. 5-pointer for corruption. All comes down to this. They get horror films. Which writer of Annabelle Creation, and The Nun also directed Annabelle Comes Home? And I want to say Chance was probably the one who that championed this one.
Yeah.
And he got it.
Yeah.
So 41-44, Corruption takes the belts.
Takes them back.
Yeah. What was this? Corruption Founding Fathers Part 4, not 5.
This is the second title match between the two teams.
Yeah.
The first two were just regular matches or a tournament match.
So they take them back. They take those belts back.
Yeah.
But let us talk about, well, okay, first of all, it made my heart grow like the Grinch when Mike and Chance start paying respect to John and Dan, telling them what a fantastic team they are. We only get better because you make us, that kind of thing. They actually brought
all of them back.
Founding Fathers back
they very rarely do this. I think this is the first time they ever do this.
Probably. And it was just kind of like mutual respect all around. Yeah. And it was wonderful to watch.
It's great to see, like, it's just to see the characters just melt away and just see the competitors and see the personalities go away and see the people behind the personas and just the friendly respect and mutual respect that each of these players have for each other. I love seeing that because we said before when we were at the Orlando event, when we went backstage, it's like them just being pals, like, oh man, that 5-pointer was so good. And it's like, I love seeing that sometimes.
It's great because like during the match, Andrew touched on this before, during the match at one point, Shannon, I guess, was typing into the private chat that John needed to get his hands up and his hands weren't visible.
Yeah.
And John was kind of like, oh, I'm sorry. All right. And then like later on in round 3, during one of Corruption's questions, his hands weren't up. And I guess the announcers, Christian and Mark, reminded John to put his hands up. And I don't know if Shannon did say something in private chat or not, because Christian said she didn't, but John said he saw it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Wasn't there. But John was like, Shannon, calm down. My hands are up. I can't cheat right now. It's not my question.
Like he's not answering, so it doesn't matter.
But it was so much fun after the match was over to see John, can I put my hands down now, Shannon? And kind of like...
yeah, just be a little cheeky.
Yeah, cheeky.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah, it was kind of nice to see them like drop the characters a little bit and just kind of banter in a fun way. So I don't know. There might be some people that are like, oh, don't pull the curtain back like that. I love it. I think
like
it's great.
It. Yeah.
Because these people have a lot of history.
Yeah, and I like seeing when Shannon came in and both Shannon and Mike were like, Chance, this was all you. This 500 was all you. And to that point, I want to say if Chance can keep this steam rolling, I'm saying it right now, player of the year. If he can somehow defend the titles and not have to go in the tournament and beat Chandru for the Inner Geekdom belt, or at least perform and force Chandru to have to force him to his 5.
Yeah, or to overtime.
And I can totally, or at least get him to overtime, and I can see that happen. I can definitely see Chance easily see that happening.
Easily.
I'm saying it right now. Chance Ellison should be player of the year.
At this point,
because
it seems pretty locked.
He's not only like one of these players like, yeah, I can compete in all 3 divisions. Not only does he compete in all 3 divisions, he's a legitimate and scary threat in all 3 divisions.
Yes.
So, I mean,
like, he's 17 years old. So
he was the youngest 2-time champion the league has ever seen.
Crazy.
So, and he's like 25 or something.
He's somewhere in his mid-20s. An age. It's been a while.
It's been a while since we've been. It's been a decade since I've been in my mid-20s. So,
oh no.
Yeah, that's how old I am.
Boy.
But yeah, like, and we talked to him. Out of everybody that I talked to in Orlando, at the Orlando vet, when we went out afterwards, I talked to Chance the most.
Yeah, he's fun.
He's fun, and I remember up until that point, I'm like, man, forget Chance.
Yeah, get out of my face
with Chance all the time. And then like it happens all the time when we meet competitors. It's like, wow,
they're actually cool.
You're very cool. And I talked to Chance about movies for like an hour and a half.
It almost just felt like he was just a buddy of ours, like already,
so
not
fun.
just
that
night.
And as much as I want to hate, it's like, God, corruption needs to stop winning.
Yeah,
I'm happy for Team Corruption. Because,
because Mike and Shannon and Chance, they are just cool people.
Yeah, and if this rivalry that we have going, I want to see it continue and continue and continue.
And on that point, when Dan Murrell started talking after this match was over, can we talk about that, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes, please.
Okay. So after this match was over, congratulations, Corruption, you did it. If we're going to go back into like a character, like whatever, Corruption.
Get at it.
Get ready. Because next time it's coming, all right? Coming with the fury. Good job, Corruption. I guess. But yeah, so Corruption had their say, oh, well, good job, you did it.
Yeah.
And then it goes to Founding Fathers.
But I think before we get to that, Shannon was like, can we put this rivalry to bed already? It's over.
Oh.
Then Dan Murrell gets on the mic.
Okay, I missed that part.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Can we put this rivalry to rest? Oh, how convenient, because you just won. Yeah. Of course you want to put it to bed, because you're on top. Jeez. So, then Dan gets on the mic, and talk about motivation. So he starts going off about how, what was some of the things he was saying? How, this is one of the times it was the quickest he's ever gone from being disappointed and just losing a match to being ready to get right back in it and take it back. And he was just, I wouldn't say he was like ranting, because it wasn't like a Roka rant. But it was just passionate words. And he said this rivalry is not, if you're out of your mind if you think this rivalry is over.
If you just watched how close this match was.
If you cannot watch that match and see how close it was and how like back and forth it was, how well matched it was. If you can watch that and think that this is anywhere near over, you're out of your mind. And then he held up his little whiteboard that says that this ends at spectacular. And I'm like, oh, yes.
And like seeing the fire in Dan just like ignited Roka, and like there he is.
There he is.
My favorite. There's my favorite player.
There's
there
the
it is. And like the second that Dan did that, like this ends at spectacular. Just seeing Dan, you very rarely see Dan fired up like this. seeing Dan like that, I was turning to Nick, I was like, I'm hitting my cards now.
Yeah.
Because like I've been loosely looking at my cards and studying here and there. I'm like, I pulled my phone. I'm like, I'm studying. Screw this. I'm just like,
I kind of want to study like I got a match next week.
Yeah, exactly. Like it inspires me to like get, because like after my loss to Ace, it's like I was at a point where I was like, do I want to do this anymore? Like I had to I'm sure a lot of players like I have to rediscover the love for the game.
Yeah.
These past
they've all said that they've
all said that. Roka's said that much too. And through these past couple of matches, and especially with this Dan's like little like motivational speech, I found like it ignites the fire back in me. And I'm like, this is what the exchange is about.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, we stumble, sure we fall, but we come back twice as strong, and we come back with fire in our veins, with fire in our eyes. So that's exactly what they're gonna do. And now Gucci has this unbelievable decision that he has to get. It should have already been submitted.
Yeah.
Who's going into the tournament? Because before he was banking on one of our teams to come out on top, and it just didn't go our way that night. And now it's either, do you put Founding Fathers in, do you put Who's the Boss, or do you put a brand new team in?
I mean, I know my answer without even having to think about it.
After that speech, you have to put Dan and Roka back into the tournament to get back to the mountaintop.
Exactly.
So
you don't. I mean, there's most of the time we see Dan Murrell and he's like, it's Dan Murrell.
Yeah.
He's got an FSU hat. He's got his plaid shirt on with his graphic tee underneath. It's Dan Murrell. Yeah. But what we saw after that match, that was dangerous Dan Murrell. Yeah. And you don't just be like, we'll put this team in the tournament. Like, look at these two.
Yeah.
They're
ready to go now.
They want to go now. Yeah. They want to tear through the tournament. They want a chance to reclaim what they believe is theirs.
Yeah.
So I think that it's a no-brainer, and I don't mean that as any disrespect to Who's the Boss, no disrespect to any other potential team within the exchange.
Yeah.
I just mean it like, well, look at these two, goats.
Surprise! It's me and Barbarian going into the tournament.
No. Surprise! Hopefully, there's a lot of Star Wars questions.
Hopefully, there's a lot of Star Wars questions. No, it's not happening.
No, but yeah, I think it's a pretty easy decision. We'll see what Gucci does. Mm-hmm. And that's that.
Yeah. But so now we get to see the next coming months, we get to see the new champions, Team Corruption, go up against Shazam.
That's going to be a good one,
That's
too.
That's going to be very interesting because
you got Chance, who you said is dangerous. He's dangerous now. Threat. And then and Mike is too, for that matter. It was just that in this match, well, you can't even say that it was just Chance, because Mike was on fire too.
Mike was on fire too.
I mean, look at that speed round. I mean, Chance had the pull at the end that did it, so you kind of give the edge to him. But in any case,
at face value, it's like Chance. Like, I'd be scared to go up against Chance.
Heck yeah.
In any division.
But then you got Brendan Meyer and William Bibiani, who they're on their own run right now. They just
knocked out Who's the Boss.
They knocked out Who's the Boss.
Yeah.
So I don't even know who I'd pick. Usually I have like a gut reaction like, yeah, of course I'm going to pick this person because
duh.
You know, yeah. But I don't know. Yeah. I really don't know. And you can't be like, oh, well, we just watched Corruption play. They're the most recent in my mind. No, that throwdown was both of these teams. So there's no recency bias because they were both just playing.
Yeah.
So, and they both teams fought amazingly well.
And if you don't believe that Shazam is fired up for this match, just look at how Brendan Meyer responded to that win. I love his energy.
I love it.
It's so, and like, there's this joke of him like he had to move his bike. It's like because half the time it's it's like, can we just hit the mute button unless you're talking, buddy? But like, it just, if you look at that match, because like Brendan is another one where he's like, you very rarely see him that fired up. Right. And like, I know his like persona and his like energy especially, but he was pumped for this knockout win, and it's awesome to see. It sucks that it's against our guys, but like,
but it's still always a delight to watch.
Yeah, it's so awesome, and just it's who do you pick? Who do you pick? Both of these teams are on fire right now, and maybe they lose a little bit of steam in the next coming months, but they're both all four of these guys are still in the singles tournament, and they can just continue to pick up speed, and just bring that energy and bring that momentum to the title match. So the only thing that I would say that corruption has over Shazam right now is Shazam hasn't competed in a 5-rounder in this new format.
True.
So I'm excited to see. I can't wait to see when, because guaranteed it's going to be another throwdown match.
Yeah.
So
I would think so.
But yeah, excited to see in the next coming months. I want to see Founding Fathers get right back into it, because how do you deny them after that speech? It's kind of like I hate bringing Florida up in this one, but Tim Tebow is one of my favorite players. After the promise, it's like how do you deny a player like that their chance? Because I mean there's a freaking plaque on the on the school campus of the promise.
I forgot about that.
You forgot about that? Yeah. That was back when it was a crime for me to cheer against Florida, because both my brothers and my sister-in-law all went to University of Florida. So
it was a crime for you
to cheer against Florida.
Oh, cheer against Florida.
Yeah, but now screw Florida.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, they didn't accept me. So they can go suck an egg. You know what I'm saying?
Suck an egg.
Oh, extracurriculars and a 3.8 and all this other volunteer hours aren't good enough for you. Sports,
whatever.
Nothing that's not good enough for you. I'll go to UCF. Fine. Hey,
we're winning now. What are you guys doing?
We figured it out.
We figured out winning.
I still got my piece of paper at the end of it all. So look what you missed out on, Florida. Could have had this alumnus right here.
But anyways, man, great matches, and we still have another throwdown coming up, and Dan Murrell still has that title to defend against either Ben Bateman or Andrew Guy.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Ooh. That's this weekend. That throwdown is this weekend, baby boys and girls. Oof. Oh my goodness. Oof. Ben Bateman, Andrew Guy, number one contender match.
Yeah, and after this Ben's gonna be out for blood.
Oh yeah.
I do. It's like it's got to be tough to be Andrew Guy right now, because it's like, oh man.
Uh-oh.
Whoops. Uh-oh.
And the fire's lit, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You never know.
And then, of course, we've got Kevin Smith versus Chris Jericho. So that's going to be it's going to be a big one, man.
So get your tickets.
Get your tickets.
Schmoedownlive.com or go to patreon.com/Schmoedown to become a $10 patron to get that.
Challenge, because I think there's a the. No, there's not a the. I don't think there is. I just want to throw that in there. Articles. Thank you. CUF. See what you missed out on? Wow. Could have had this.
That was good. I like that. Challenge. The wasn't in there. You don't get 2 points. But I think that's it. Yeah. Anything else that we want to go over really quick?
I don't think so. Don't be jerks in chat.
Yeah.
Other than that, we talked about it last episode, but worth mentioning again. Yeah. Be nice to each other. If you wouldn't say it to your mom,
oh, that's a good one to.
Maybe don't say it to somebody. If you wouldn't say it to a family member or a friend, maybe don't say it out loud or on a keyboard to somebody else, because then it's probably mean. So, yeah. And if, first of all, you shouldn't be commenting on people's looks, but I did see a thing online that was like, ooh, teach your children that if they want to say something to somebody about, comment on something about them, if it's something that they can't change within 5 seconds, don't say it out loud. So if it's like, oh, hey, you got food on your lip, I can wipe it off. But if it's like, hey,
what's wrong with your nose?
Yeah, what's the matter with that big old nose of yours? Man, you're looking, those jeans are kind of tight. They obviously can't do anything about that in 5 minutes. So maybe keep it to yourself. So maybe you can keep that in mind too.
Yeah,
so
keep that in mind when you're commenting on the chat or in Twitter.
If you wouldn't say it to your good friend or your family, then maybe keep it to yourself, because it's probably mean.
Yeah. Again, if you want to say like, hey man, who's the boss? Oof, tough go. That was a rough go, man.
Maybe they should brush up on classics.
Yeah. Constructive criticism of the game is always welcome, because that's how players learn. That's how we evolve. That's how we evolve the game and improve it. Just like, I don't know, but like saying, oh man, that was dumb. You're dumb because you're
Bateman's
dumb.
an actual jerk in real life. Yeah, if you're saying stuff like that, you're crossing the line, and it's not necessary. So be better, do better, say better.
Yeah.
Don't be a jerk is really the bottom line. Hashtag don't be a jerk.
Hashtag don't be a jerk. And with that, I think we'll end this episode of Beyond the Schmoedown. Nicki Dimalanta, where can they find you online?
Ooh, Twitter. You can find me at Dimmy. DIMMYYY.
That's where you can follow me at Drew Dimalanta on Twitter and Twitch, DIMALANTA.
Oh,
if they're watching on YouTube.
If you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe, and then hit that bell icon in the corner so you know when we do stuff on YouTube.
You listen on audio form, the Beyond the Schmoedown podcast feed. You head over to Apple Podcasts, rate us, please. And if you would like to support the channel other than liking, commenting, and subscribing, if you have the means, patreon.com/Andrew and Nikki. Become a member of the squadron. Thank you to our squadron captains, Timur Butta, Ferris Mathana, Josh Estes, and B. Door. Thank you to our squadron captains for your continued support on this channel. Be sure to tune in on Fridays for Going Rogue. We're going to be talking Celebration on this episode. I know.
Right.
It's, not that we're going, is that we're not going. This Celebration. We'll get into that conversation when that show comes up. Anything else? I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. With that, we will end this episode. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Beyond the Schmoedown. We'll see you next time.